God put a rainbow in the clouds. Imagine that. Imagine Wake Forest actually being a rainbow in the clouds. There are some men and women who are here as students who represent the only person in their family who's actually entered an institution of higher education. That shred from a 19th century folk song, spiritual gospel, was of course inspired by a statement in Genesis. We are told in Genesis that rain persisted so unrelentingly that people thought it would never cease. And in an attempt to put the people at ease, God put a rainbow in the sky. That's in Genesis. However, in the 19th century, some African-American lyricist, a poet, probably a woman, I'm not sure about that, said, no, God didn't just put the rainbow in the sky. We know that suns and moons and stars and all sorts of illuminations are always in the firmament. However, rain can so persist and clouds can so persist, can so loom, that the viewer cannot see any possibility of hope. Can you imagine 50 years ago? Can you imagine 100 years ago? My great-grandparents would never have imagined that I would be a speaker at Wake Forest, that in fact I would be the Reynolds professor at Wake Forest, that I would teach in so many disciplines. I had been a mute from the time I was 7 until I was 13. I didn't speak except to my brother. And my grandmother used to braid my hair the way old black ladies still braid girls' hair. I'd sit on the floor on a pillow. She'd sit down. And then she'd bend her hand like that and put it behind my neck because my hair was very big and very curly. And she'd put her hand like that. And she'd say, sister, so she wouldn't break my neck by accident. She'd say, so sister, Mama don't care if these people say you must be an idiot, you must be a moron because you can't talk. Sister, Mama don't care. Mama know when you and the good Lord get ready, you're going to be a teacher. Sister, you're going to teach all over this world. I used to sit there and think, this poor ignorant woman. Doesn't she know I would never speak? She was one of my rainbows. Each of us has a rainbow in the clouds. And the fantastic, most wonderful piece of news is each of us has the possibility of being a rainbow in somebody's cloud. Isn't that amazing? Somebody you don't even know, whose complexion might not jive with yours, who may eat different foods or the same foods prepared differently. Somebody, if you simply say, morning, there are people who you don't know. That person may have just hung up the phone from having a secretary or a nurse saying, Miss Jones, I'm sorry to tell you, but the radiologists are not all that happy with your x-rays. And when you come back in, you have no idea. You've just spoken to someone. And for a second, you've lifted somebody's spirit. The person may say, who is that? Does she work in my building? She go to my church? Who is that? But for a minute, you've lifted somebody's spirit. She may have just hung up the phone from someone saying, listen, we're downsizing, and actually your job has been deleted, and we need you to come in and get your belongings. And you say, hi, morning. For a moment, you've lifted up someone. There's a statement I would like you to remember. The statement is, Homo sum, humani nil ame alienum puto. I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. Now, when you look in your encyclopedia, under Terence with one R, you will find beside his name, in italics, Terentius Afer. He was an African a slave, sold to a Roman senator. He was freed by that senator and became the most popular playwright in Rome. 5 of his plays in that one statement have come down to us from 154 BC. Imagine it. Just imagine it. You, born free, you are able to walk, able to talk, able to see. My goodness, able to hear. Just look at you. How much you have, how much you will give somebody. It's a wonderful, I couldn't say no when it was even suggested that I came over to Wake Forest and talk to you. I was hoping to see people lined up all down the street. Really, but then never mind. Tell your friends what I said, please. I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. It's a liberating phrase. And so is the idea that you have the possibility and the probability of being a rainbow in somebody's cloud. After I had written the inaugural poem for President Clinton, United Nations people called and asked me, wrote to me, and asked me if I would write a poem for the 50th anniversary of United Nations. It was amazing. I trembled to hear that because, and then would I come to California, to San Francisco, and deliver the poem? I remembered being 16 years old when United Nations was formed. 16. I was 6 foot tall. I was black even then. And I read in the newspapers, the San Francisco Chronicle, the Examiner, and the Call Bulletin, I read that simultaneous translators could be paid $150 a week. Imagine, $150. There wasn't that much money in the world. So, and I knew, although I had been a mute, I knew I had a penchant for languages. I knew it. And I thought if I wasn't black and 6 foot tall and really uneducated and all that, I could go in, I could learn all those languages. I could go in that building. If I wasn't just 6 foot tall, black, female, pregnant, and unmarried. Can you imagine how it felt to me when the people asked me, would I come? Would I write a poem and deliver it to the heads of state of the world? Can you imagine? I couldn't have done it had I not had rainbows in my clouds. Absolutely impossible. So many people, Ed Wilson is one, Tom Mullen is one, Elizabeth Phillips and Ava Rotveith are 2. People who've been white, black, fat, thin, pretty, plain, gay, straight, all of them, have been rainbows in my clouds. Look at Jay Lawson around here. He's helped me on this stage for many, many years. And when I had questions about my voice, he said, I can get the microphone up closer. Amazing. So if you look beside you, you might see a rainbow. You may have no idea. In fact, when you look in the mirror, you'll see a rainbow. This is a poem, the poem I wrote for United Nations. And I'm going to ask maybe one of my friends here to put it on the Wake Forest website. I'd like you to have it. And when you have it, make copies and give it around, please. We, this people on a small and lonely planet, traveling through casual space, past aloof stars, across the way of indifferent suns, to a destination where all signs tell us it is possible and imperative that we learn a brave and startling truth. And when we come to it, to the day of peacemaking, when we release our fingers from fists of hostility and allow the pure air to cool our palms, when we come to it, when the curtain falls on the minstrel show of hate and faces sooted with scorn are scrubbed clean, when battlefields and coliseum no longer rake our unique and particular sons and daughters up from the bruised and bloody grass to lay them in identical plots in foreign soil, when the screaming racket in the temples have ceased, when the pennants are waving gaily in the world, when the banners tremble stoutly in a good, clean breeze, when we come to it, it's amazing what we can do. But then we must confess that when children's dreams are not kicked awake by nightmares of abuse, then we will confess that not the pyramids with their stones set in mysterious perfection, nor the gardens of Babylon hanging as eternal beauty in our collective memory, not the Grand Canyon kindled into delicious color by western sunsets, nor the Danube flowing its blue soul into Europe, not the sacred peak of Mount Fuji stretching to the rising sun, neither Father Amazon nor Mother Mississippi, who without favor nurture all creatures in their depth and on their shores. Those are not the only wonders of the world. When we come to it, we, this people, on this minuscule and kithless globe, who reach daily for the bomb, the blade, the dagger, yet who petition in the dark for tokens of peace. We, this people, on this mote of matter, in whose mouths abide cankerous words which challenge our very existence, yet out of those same mouths can come songs of such exquisite sweetness that the heart falters in its labor and the back is quieted into awe. We, this people on this small and drifting planet, whose hands can strike with such abandon that in a twinkling, life is stripped from the living, yet those same hands can touch with such healing, irresistible tenderness that the haughty neck is happy to bow, the proud back is glad to bend. Of such chaos, of such contradiction, we learn we are neither devils nor divines. When we come to it, we, this people, on this wayward floating body, created on this earth, of this earth, have the power to fashion for this earth a climate where every man and every woman can live freely without sanctimonious piety, without crippling fear. When we come to it, we must confess that we are the possible. We are the miraculous. We, here at Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, on October the 18th, we are the true wonder of this world. That is when and only when we come to it. When it looks like the sun will not shine anymore, when one of us, or two of us, or all of us can say, I am willing to be a rainbow in somebody's cloud. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.